Is the altcoin season here? And if it is, are we going to see a massive pump come back? If the answer to that question is yes, the last altcoin season saw over a period of just a couple of short months, a 600% rally in the altcoin space. Yes, that is a 7x in only a handful of months put together. What does that mean for your altcoin portfolio? Well, we're going to talk about all of that in today's live show, so stick around. Make sure to smash that like button if you love these Wednesday live shows. Also, if you're brand new, you're just tuning in, make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss any of our content. We're updating you every single day on the top stories, the top news, the top charts. You don't want to miss it. Stick around. All right, let's go. Welcome, everybody. It is good to be back with you on this wacky Wednesday, as we have been calling it. T-Shroom, yellow background today. You changed up the light systems here a little bit, making that blue shirt of yours pop. How you boys doing? Let's start off. I usually go Smay. People have been asking where you guys have been. Let's tell me how you're doing and where have you been recently. T-Shroom, how you doing, my friend?
Oh, I am doing better than I deserve, Tim. And I must say, I have stepped into a new era. I've been a New Balance man most of my life, but I went out and got a pair of Hey Dudes, and I must say, I'm not looking back.
They're the best, man. They are really the best. So you've been buying Hey Dudes is what you've been doing in your spare time.
That's right.
Good. That's worthy. It's a worthy endeavor with all your new free time.
I don't know who Smay is. It's me, Gordon Ramsay, with my head-clad pants. Guys, welcome to MasterChef, where we're going to be cooking the best meals that you've ever had. Visit my restaurants in Las Vegas. Tell me, guys, that was not an incredible impression of Gordon Ramsay.
Wait, is that
too soon? It's too soon
it's
for
actually
the
me.
Nonsense.
It's actually me, Smay.
It's too soon.
Anyways.
We got a lot of content to talk about here today. So you've been working on your impersonations. Guys have been asking, we recently switched to doing like daily videos and Wednesday live streams. I've seen a couple of comments now asking, where are the other guys? Are they all gone? We're all here, guys. We're here. Guys are working in the background. We're making videos. Staying very busy. You can see Smay working really hard on his impersonations. T-Shroom's out here buying Hey Dudes. I mean, we are busy people. Are you guys ready to talk crypto, though? You guys ready for it?
Yes, sir.
More than ever.
Let's get into it today. Guess what? We're not going to do a sponsor today. We could do a sponsor. We're just not going to. So no sponsors today. If you like videos with no sponsors, smash the like button. The ones in the future are going to have them because that's how we pay the bills so that T-Shroom can buy Hey Dudes. But today, this show is brought to you by nobody but the Broz. Smash that like button. T-Shroom, we got a lot to dive into here. Some big news is coming. I want to kind of set this up by going back to a prediction we made way back in January. Now, we kind of predicted it like it was going to happen in the next couple of weeks or months, and so our timing was a little off. But do you remember when we got up here on a live show and we told everybody, if you're waiting for altcoin season, the 4-year cycle altcoin season that should have started back in November, December, it flopped. So now we're off of this time frame. We're waiting for specific catalysts in the news to make sure we get the altcoin season. And those two things was, number one, added liquidity. Are we going to get rate cuts? Are we going to turn the money printers back on? We're not going to get an altcoin season until we find liquidity coming back into the markets. The second one is that this is an institutional bull market and institutions need the green light to invest. What do they get that green light with? Regulatory clarity. And in this week, if you guys have not been paying attention because you've been waiting for your Wednesday live show with the Broz, we have got some amazing big time stories that could very well right now be telling us that altcoin season's just around the corner. We'll get to the charts here in a couple minutes. Let's start off with those stories. Take it away in the news, T-Shroom.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first order of regulatory clarity is the deal with China is done, according to Donald Trump here. The deal is done with China. Mostly surrounds the rare earth minerals. And the good news, bros, is this is in the rearview mirror for now, right? This is going to take the back seat to the two other very important things that surround regulatory clarity and global trade. That is this amazing headline here. SEC Chair Paul Atkins says they are working on policy to exempt DeFi platforms from regulatory barriers. So that is what matters. That is the future. The China trade deal is good for now. May it rear its head later in the future? Absolutely, it probably will. But for now, it's in the rearview mirror, and investors can focus on more bullish catalysts to come, like this one. This one was great. And then also we have this one. Final vote on the Genius Act could be held by end of week or early next week. This is really big, Tim. So the SEC making a bullish determination there on the future of DeFi, and then the Genius Act looking like it's nearing that final vote in the Senate. Two very big bullish catalysts. What are your thoughts here on this and China going so well in addition?
Out of curiosity, I saw someone put it in chat 6 minutes ago. Go to my screen here, Smay. This is fresh off the press from Watchdog Guru. U.S. Senate votes to advance Genius Act crypto stablecoin bill. So there you go.
Yeah. So clarity on that. Clarity on that.
Okay, never mind. I was wrong there. Go ahead. Clarity, yeah.
No, you're good. You're good. That, unless Eleanor Tourette was wrong, Eleanor made clear that that is just a cloture vote to add the amendments. So the final vote has not passed yet. That will not pass until later this week or early next week. In fact, if you're seeing altcoins pump out there, that there might be an opportunity for a short on that in the short term there, a little scalp trade alpha. But yeah, that Genius bill passing will be a very big catalyst indeed.
Yeah, and we'll get into what I just kind of set this up. So if we just went through the stories, those are the big stories happening right now. I actually have a couple t-shirts. I didn't tell you beforehand. We're going to look at a couple stories on my page too. Get your thoughts on it all around here. But remember the two things we said. We got to have regulatory clarity. I think I said liquidation first. We'll focus there. Liquidation and clarity on regulation. We now have an SEC. We all knew the SEC was going to get more bullish, right? We all knew that the day we heard that Gary Gensler was gone, whatever the future of the SEC was going to look like was going to be a 180 into the bullish category for the SEC. But I don't think we actually anticipated just how bullish this could be. My expectation, I'll be honest with you guys, my expectation was that there was going to be very light, moderate regulation, but it would become clear and institutions would have a green light to go by. The SEC chairman, the new SEC chairman, coming out and saying that it is a fundamental right of Americans to own their own cryptocurrency and it's going to exempt DeFi from further regulation. This is more bullish than I could ever have hoped for. Also, that Genius Act bill getting stablecoin regulation decided upon, it's going to unlock massive waves from fiat currency and from other high yield investments into the digital asset space, into cryptocurrency. So if you have been waiting, this is massive news. And again, I tell you this, why? Because this is going to be an institutional bull market. I've said this so many times, but I need to say it again. Some of you have not heard it, so you're going to hear it here. Bull markets past 2021, 2017, 2013, and so on. While there were major whales and maybe some light company investments from time to time, it has always been driven by retail investors like you and me. Some of us are wealthy, some of us are not very wealthy, but it's regular people. This bull market is different. We've already broken the 4-year cycle. Now people are going to argue with me on that, but I have lots of reasons for that. I'll save that for another video. We've broken the 4-year cycle. We're in a system right now where we should be about to move into a very boring sideways or even downward summer if history follows, and yet all signs are pointing towards an amazing bull run coming. Why? Because retail and institutions do not invest the same way. They do it very differently. And institutions, even though they've been saying now for over a year and change that they're excited about the crypto space, while some have already gotten in their toes into the water, there's been several companies vocally saying we are ready to deploy capital into cryptocurrency. We just need to know the rules. And the rules are becoming very clear. That's a massive win right there. On the other front, you have the liquidity. And I think this one's a little less clear at this point. But let me break down for you kind of what's going on. T-Shroom, you chime in here in a second. Let me know if I get anything wrong or if you need to elaborate on anything I say. But ultimately, when we talk about liquidity, We're talking about money flooding back into the space, flooding back into the markets that want to buy risk on assets. And altcoins in general are risk on assets. In a season where there's economic confusion or potential downward movements, you don't want to buy risk on. You go risk off. You buy the safe things like gold. You buy US dollar bonds. You don't go into risky assets. But when liquidity comes back in, when there's this new flow of money, all of a sudden you get into those more risky plays. The question is, where is this liquidity coming from? And I'm going to address, by the way, anyone in chat who's talking about Bitcoin pulling back. We're going to talk Bitcoin pricing. We're going to talk altcoin prices. Stick around. We got to set the playing field so you understand the game we're playing right now. Liquidity is about to come back in for one of two reasons. Number one, will we see rate cuts happen? I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't think rate cuts are actually coming until September. I think Jerome Powell is playing the game right now of saying, oh, I have this reason to not cut rates, and I have that reason to not cut rates. He's not very consistent, but ultimately we're seeing his reasons get diminished here. It's becoming very clear he really just doesn't want the Trump administration to look like it's actually being successful. All of last year, he always quoted, why were they doing, why were they keeping rates paused, or why did they decide to cut rates? And he's like, aren't you worried about this in the future? And he always said, well, we're taking in the data month by month, and we're making our decisions based on the data. Okay, that's an argument. I actually don't think that's a good argument, but that's an argument. Let's just take data by data and make decisions. All of a sudden, in 2025, Trump becomes president of the United States. And now, even though the data is coming in that inflation is coming down, even though the data is coming in that unemployment is starting to tick to the upside, which is a perfect recipe for rate cuts, now all of a sudden, instead of looking at the current data, he wants to speculate about the future indecision about what inflation is going to do based on tariffs. So last year he waits for data. This year he's looking forward. It's kind of inconsistent. Ultimately, I think it's more of an excuse. You guys let me know in the comments how you kind of feel about that. But that excuse is coming to an end here with this news today. Not only does it look like the China deal is done and is very good, we're also closing in on a deal with India, with Canada. We already closed one with the UK and with Mexico, our largest trading partners, economies worldwide that will benefit the United States. We're coming to closes with these deals. And that excuse from Jerome Powell that inflation might be about to skyrocket based on the uncertainty of these tariff deals is coming to an end. Like I said, though, I don't think that's necessarily where liquidity is coming from. We're in transition here into where I think the liquidity is going to come from. It is the big focus for the American government right now, the big, beautiful bill. Have you guys ever heard of this bill? I think some people online are talking about it. I've heard there's been a fight or two on X about the content that goes in this big, beautiful bill. But ultimately, if this big, beautiful bill passes with or without rate cuts from the Fed, there will be money printing happening. Liquidity comes in. If that happens, that's going to be the liquidity side of the altcoin season starting. T-Shroom, anything you want to comment in there before we get into what's happening with the big, beautiful bill?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they have to pass it, right? I think the big, beautiful bill has to pass. If it doesn't, it's going to really push back Trump's agenda. So they want to pass it. And by they, I mean the Republicans. Maybe you don't agree with them, but from an economic standpoint, it is going to be very positive for assets, risk assets, if the BBB passes. So Howard Lutnick has tweeted about it, but I mean, he's just promoting it in general. This is something that, again, if you're a holder of risk assets, it's going to be positive if it passes for you.
Yeah. That's kind of where we are right now. By the way, let's go look at this real quickly, and then we're going to look at some charts here with altcoin season. If you guys came in seeing that 600% thumbnail, no, it's not clickbait. I have a reason why we put that up there. We're going to talk about that. Go to my screen here. The drama I was referring to earlier, I think some of you know about it. Trump and Elon, once best friends, had a little bit of fight, a little bit of bicker. It's almost like a boyfriend-girlfriend breakup last week. Well, guess what? If you guys hadn't seen this, make sure you see it now. Elon Musk tweeted 12 hours ago, I regret some of my posts about President real Donald Trump last week. They went too far. That's not an apology officially, but it's pretty stinking close. Two egotistical men right here. That's about what you get with an apology from an egotistical man right there. How does President Trump respond? 8 hours ago from the Kabesi letter, President Trump on if he can reconcile with Elon Musk. I guess I could. So you're kind of getting into this theory. We talked about it last week. Was this whole thing a setup? You can go off my screen now. Was this whole thing a setup? Was it one big dramatic play to distract people? Ultimately, I don't know if we'll ever know the exact answer, but no matter what you believe, was it fake? Was it real? All of that FUD, all of that uncertainty, all of that doubt seems to be completely gone from the markets. And what it ended up turning into, if you go over here and you take a look at the total chart back on my screen, it ended up being a perfect little bear trap. A lot of people, myself included, were concerned, worried this could lead to a larger pullback. And since then, we're back up, almost back up to the highs back here on May 23rd. This is very, very good news for the crypto markets. Very good news for Bitcoin. Very good news for altcoins. If you guys love seeing all this bullishness come in, smash the like, put a 1 in chat right now. If you're in this watching later, comment, I'm bullish, so we know you guys are buying the markets right now. Let's talk altcoin season for a little bit. Let's camp out here on altcoin season. Real quick, before I do, because I'm going to be here for a little bit. We got a lot of charts, a lot of things to dissect here. T-Shroom, anything you want to add to the comments I've just made? We got a lot of topics to get into today. We got to talk ONDO and XRP here a little bit later. We got to talk altcoin season. We got to talk Bitcoin. Anything you want to add in right now on what we just referenced with Elon and Trump and the big, beautiful bill?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the Elon and Trump feud really tested the market support, right? And the outcome was that Bitcoin did not really test all that much lower, right? The S&P had a bit of a dip, but found support quite quickly, and now is pushing higher with Microsoft as an example, hitting all-time highs last week. So the market really kind of shrugged off the tension between Elon and Trump, and it really brought back into focus what really matters. And to my mind, is two things, which is the bill, right? The bill needs to pass. There's a lot of reasons why I might ideologically disagree with the bill, but pragmatically, the bill needs to pass. Okay, that's the first thing, the bill. The second thing is productive trade talks with China. And like I said at the top of this show, that is now in the rearview mirror. That is a big green check box. That is a big green light. And now any market participants, any international importers and exporters, any global trade is now looking at that and saying, okay, that is all tidied up. Let's go ahead and close the deals that we were going to close, invest in what we were going to invest in, knowing that there's certainty with that China deal. The other thing that is in the background that Tim already referenced, in addition to the two things I've said here, the bill, right, and the productive China talks, is liquidity, right? Will the Fed cut? And it just isn't clear that they have any appetite in June for sure, and in July. September is looking a little bit more optimistic, but I wouldn't hold my breath. Yeah, but that's okay, because Donald Trump seems to have figured out that he can conjure up these bullish catalysts, and the market will buy it, right? Microsoft, after all, hitting all-time highs last week, and Bitcoin not far from all-time highs itself. Ethereum seems to be waking up. So, Tim, I'm interested. I'm excited to look at these charts with all that in mind and see what I might pull out for my own personal portfolio.
Absolutely. If you guys are ready to discuss altcoin season right now in chat, comment your favorite altcoin. I'm very interested to see what you guys have. I know you have a lot of them. Your number one coin. If you could only hold one altcoin, Bitcoin excluded, don't put Bitcoin in chat. If you could only hold one altcoin, what altcoin would that be for the rest of this bull market? Let's go to my chart. Let's start talking about it. Really quickly, we're going to reference Bitcoin's chart here. Smay, if you go to my screen. There you go. Look at that Smay. Who loves Smay? I love Smay. All right, we have a nice little breakout to the downside. I'm seeing chat. I see people in there saying, hey, we're going to pull back. Guys, this is such a short-term pullback. Make sure before you freak out, you zoom out. Go out to the daily chart. Zoom out for me real quickly. Take a look at what Bitcoin has looked like since in April. Very small pullback right here in June. This pullback is even shorter. Go ahead and scroll out to that weekly chart for a second. Take a deep breath. Take a look at what Bitcoin looks like since all the way back in November of 2022. I think it's okay, guys. I think the current pullback happening, it's not the end of the world, right? So let's start off there. We're going to come back to Bitcoin here in a little bit, but something I want you to be aware of, Bitcoin is very high here, clearly. Even without the pullback right now, we just hit new all-time highs again here in May. We are rivaling. I would not be surprised to see new all-time highs on Bitcoin again in the next week or two at the latest. But the thing that's causing everyone to go crazy right now in this altcoin season is the emergence of Ethereum. Ethereum showing signs of life for the first time in quite some time. This is a chart, if you zoom out, it's still bullish, but has been slightly disappointing. People have been wondering, is Ethereum dead? Is Ethereum gone? Well, here's the deal, guys. Ethereum is the number 2 coin out there. It's number 1 altcoin. It had some good moments here. I mean, clearly a great run in November of 2023 into early 2024. A great run back here in October, November. Big dip down here. We put in a lower low, but overall, Ethereum showing signs of life at the right time. What's that right time? The potential emergence of an altcoin season. Let's take a look at what's happening on the Ethereum chart. We have targets right now with yesterday cleanly breaking through resistance. I wouldn't be surprised if ETH comes back to retest 2,700, but breaking above this resistance level of what we call an ascending triangle, a flat top with a rising support level attached to an explosive flagpole. If you take the length of that flagpole and you move it to the last touch of support, this gives us a prediction in the next couple of days, next week and some change, of a $3,700, almost $3,800 Ethereum. And that's just getting started. By the end of the summer, this is a coin I think can be over 45, potentially pushing towards $5,000 per coin. And depending on when this flowing altcoin season happens, it actually could be a lot higher. But again, I think altcoin season truly starts later this summer, which means when you want to talk about the big 600% gains, you're actually looking probably sometime into the fall. But I want to make sure we're setting this up correctly. Ethereum is big. Put a pin in that thought. I'm explaining why Ethereum blowing up right now is a big deal, but there's another chart that you have to look at right now, and that is the ETH over Bitcoin chart, where today we have just broken the resistance of a bull pennant itself, this one with a target for ETH over Bitcoin to come back up here to 0.03321, a level we haven't seen since January earlier this year. Now, this is a chart right here I want to make sure you're aware of. This ETH over Bitcoin chart has been terrible since way back in September of 2022. Pretty much the bottom of the bull market. Or sorry, the bottom of the bear market, then when the bull market started back in the fall of 2022. Ever since that time, Ethereum compared to Bitcoin has been terrible. You have a couple bumps, but nothing major. This is actually the largest rally that we have seen on ETH over Bitcoin the entire time this has been happening. Right? And coincidentally, it came down to levels we hadn't seen since back in January of 2020. Well, back in 2020, this is when ETH over Bitcoin bottomed out and that bull market got started. We didn't hit altcoin season here until late 2020, but you can see ETH over Bitcoin, it can get moving, and it can get moving very, very fast. Why is this important? Well, it's triggering the Bitcoin Dominance Chart to make a major move here. What's that move? Bitcoin Dominance is pulling back right now. In fact, we were tracking a rising wedge pattern. This is a very rising higher levels of resistance, higher levels of support, but we predicted a breakout down to 62.5. That is in the works right now. Over the last couple of days, Bitcoin Dominance is plummeting, and the main reason is because Ethereum is waking up. Ethereum is the number 1 threat to the Bitcoin Dominance Chart. It's the biggest thing that can affect Bitcoin dominance falling. And historically, we've always seen altcoin season start when Ethereum starts stealing dominance from Bitcoin. So that is something you absolutely want to be tracking right now. When you're tracking the daily chart, the 4-hour chart, we are seeing the Bitcoin dominance chart coming down, and Ethereum is the big reason. Now, before I move on, I have a lot still to explain here, getting into if altcoin season is here, what we could see, why we could see a 600% rally. But ultimately, I want to make sure we're clear here. There was a fake out back in the fall. The 4-year cycle, if you guys know what the 4-year cycle is, it's a cycle a lot of crypto people are holding to that they think that they could just predict perfectly when to buy, when to sell. Well, the altcoin season, if the 4-year cycle was intact, it should have started late November, early December. That's exactly what happened. We rallied up here above 60% as we predicted years ago. We had a huge crash, 11% crash in the Bitcoin dominance, where we saw altcoins starting to outpace Bitcoin. Guess what coin was not outpacing Bitcoin during this time, though? Ethereum. And that would have made it the first altcoin season to start without an emergence of Ethereum taking away Bitcoin dominance. Well, what happened next? You can see we came back up, put in a lower high. That's always a good sign. But then putting in a lower high, back here, putting in a higher low, we canceled out the bear trend. And sure enough, months later, we're hitting new highs. What does this mean? Before I truly declare altcoin season, I do want to see not just that we put in a lower high like we did here a couple days ago early in June. I want to see us drop not just to 62.5. I want to see us drop below this low down here at 61.8 or so percent. We got to get below 62%. If that happens, all of a sudden, we are potentially talking about the emergence of altcoin season. We're talking about a repeat of what happened back here in January of 2021, where Bitcoin dominance fell off a cliff and just collapsed. We're talking about a repeat of the altcoin season before then, back here in February of 2017, where Bitcoin dominance fell off a cliff and went to the downside. And this historically has always started with Ethereum beginning to run and the alts follow shortly after. So that's setting the stage right now. We are seeing the signs we need to see. We're seeing a potential catalyst for liquidity coming in. We're seeing a potential catalyst for clear regulation for institutional adoption. And we're watching Ethereum begin to steal dominance from Bitcoin. These are the signs that we have been looking for. And if this does end up coming to fruition, what does this mean for your altcoin season? Well, here's where 600% comes in. I'm not going to limit us to 600%, but I want you to see why we're saying 600%. The last time we go way back here on the total chart, or total 2 chart, this is the market cap of all cryptocurrency excluding Bitcoin. If you go back to where we had Ethereum begin to outpace Bitcoin, you have to go back here to December. Well, you kind of could go back here to November too, but December, right in here, December of 2020, Ethereum's outpacing Bitcoin. Altcoin season is about a month away. Look at what it did between December and simply May of 2021. So we're talking about 4.5 very short months. This is what altcoin season did back then. Boom. Actually, why did I say 600? I think maybe I started in January. If you start in January, it's 600%. Here, if you go back to December, it's actually 774%. So I apologize for the thumbnail, everybody. Altcoin season back in 2021 actually did 774% to the upside before the May correction, once you started to see Ethereum outpacing Bitcoin. And we're seeing the beginning signs of that once again. You guys keep telling me when you hear my price predictions, like, Tim, you're way too bullish. I was on earlier today with Paul Barron when I said that Ethereum could reach $5,000 by end of summer. He's like, wow, you think Ethereum could 100x? Ladies and gentlemen, go back to the last altcoin season. Let's go to Ethereum specifically. What did Ethereum do once it started outpacing Bitcoin? We actually watched, again, you go back here into November, December. Let's go right here. Boom. Ethereum rallied 1,000% during that altcoin season. So forget just 100% gains for Ethereum. We're talking about major gains. I don't think 1,000% is on the table. Ethereum is more established, but I don't think I'm crazy whatsoever to say summertime, 100% gain on Ethereum, easy money. Let's talk about 200, 300, 400. And by the end of this bull market, let's talk about 600 to 700% rallies for Ethereum. Other altcoins, upwards of 1,500 to 2,000% gains in this bull market. You call me crazy, study your history. Look at the explosiveness of these charts when altcoin season hits. Now, if you don't think altcoin season's happening, that's a fair argument. Don't have to pay attention to these charts. If you think altcoins are dead, that is completely fine. We're probably not the right channel for you. You probably aren't going to like our content because we're going to talk about a lot of altcoins and we're going to make money with altcoins, predicting a true altcoin season coming. But if you are on board with the altcoin season theory, if you do think one is shaping up based off the news and the charts right now, learn to expect that your expectations might just be outdone. Altcoin seasons, there's a very common feeling of, man, we got to be done now. Oh, wait, no, it's keep going up. Okay, well, that's got to be the top. Oh, wait, no, it keeps going. Okay, that's got to be even higher. That is the experience. That is the feeling you will get during altcoin season. We have not had that yet. It's coming. Just wait for these institutions to go big now they got that regulatory clarity. T-Shroom.
Yeah.
We got more charts to look over. We got a lot more things to go through. Give me your initial feedback to the case right there we made.
You might be hearing Tim and you're like, 100x for Ethereum. This guy's out of his mind.
100x, 100%. 100%.
100% per
no 100x for Ethereum. That is crazy.
Right. That's good. So, but it really is, a possibility for 100% move for Ethereum. If you go over to my screen, Zero Hedge has actually tweeted something out that I wasn't tracking yet. So Ether ETF inflows nonstop hit highest in 5 months, right? So it's not just degens that are looking into Ethereum NFTs, that are looking into Ethereum ecosystem coins, right? This is size, as they say in TradFi. This is size coming in to the Ether ecosystem and buying on the ETFs, right? So it's bullish, and you might be shaking your head, Tim, you're over exaggerating, but this is we're seeing it on the charts. And I was discussing with the Discord yesterday. You can go back to the split screen. Discussing yesterday with some folks in Discord, that there seems to have been a shift in the media coverage, right? And it was most pronounced, most illustrated clearly through CNBC. CNBC went full bull yesterday. Can't remember exactly what the headline was, but it was pretty bullish. And then you also I'm seeing a lot of accounts on X that I haven't seen in a while, big accounts that are waking up, right? There's some thresholds that are being crossed for those accounts, thinking, that they're going to gain from waking back up and being active. And there's just a general sense from the ETF inflows that there's less flowing into Bitcoin and more flowing into Ethereum. That's going to catch attention of investors, and they're going to follow suit, saying, hey, what is this whole altcoin season thing? You might be tired of hearing the phrase altcoin season, but there's people that are hearing that for the first time, and they're putting two and two together. Wait, there's other blockchains than Bitcoin? I've heard of Ethereum, but I thought that was for kids. And then they realize, oh, it's not just, okay. And so you have to remember, like, you have to be patient. The big money that's going to move these market caps to the next level has to understand what they're investing in. And it looks like, according to those inflows, that understanding, that education phase may be coming to an end. And now they're making the decision phase and buying with size into Ethereum.
Now, I want to make sure before we move on away from altcoin discussion, and we're going to take a look at the Bitcoin chart. We're actually going to start, we've been so bullish here. We got to talk about short-term pullbacks, right? I actually was on X earlier today. I asked you guys to predict which way Bitcoin would go. I didn't know it was going to break out before the live show. I was hoping to predict it before the live show. We've already broken the downside of my triangle. I'll explain to you why that was what I was predicting. But on the altcoin front, I want to make sure we're clear on something. You are still going to see volatility play out. I want to make sure I'm not saying altcoin season is here right this second. I'm not saying altcoins nothing but up from here. In fact, something you want to be aware of right now, as T-Shroom points out, the mainstream media seems to be going very bullish here. A lot of people are hyped right now on altcoins. I'm hyped about altcoins. I'm going to continue to hold and add to my bags. Don't be surprised when there's shakeout. Do you guys remember earlier this year, well, let's even go back. November of 2024, Donald Trump is elected president of the United States. What happens? Bitcoin shoots up, crypto shoots up, stocks shoot up. Why? Because Donald Trump was viewed as the president who was going to take the next step in making America great again, making crypto great again. Everyone was so bullish about it, right? But the day that he takes office on January 20th, the market's correct. And better yet, the tariff news starts coming out and crypto markets start to crash, even bringing the bears back up, telling us the bear market is here. That is it. We're done. Now, we went through 2.5 months of extreme negative price action on the daily basis. We here at the Investing Bros continue to tell you, hodl on. I know this looks bad, but this is a whole fake out. We're not heading for a recession. The bull market's still here. This is a misdirection move, but the pain caused many people to get out. Well, I understand why the pain got out, because they were promised something so bullish and they weren't willing to wait for it. They just thought on January 20th, the world was going to, they're going to wake up to these rainbows and cryptocurrencies falling out of the sky. And we were going to have our altcoin season start right then. And what actually ended up happening was a beautiful market manipulated move to pull prices down, to discourage people like you from investing in cryptocurrency, all so that BlackRock and Fidelity and some of the institutions that are dabbling in the water, along with longer-term whales, could buy some discounted Bitcoin, discounted altcoins before the next emergence. All right, we warned you about that during the whole pullback. We saw the people unsubscribing. They were telling us all kinds of mean things in the comments. I'm not going to repeat all of them because some of them aren't very family-friendly. We were being told we were idiots, and we were telling you, stay bullish, but embrace the volatility. I'm here to tell you that again. I'm predicting to you right now that what you hold right now in your crypto portfolio, depending on what you hold, if you turn the computer off right now, if you walk away, go play some golf, touch some grass, hug a family member, come back in the fall, come back, let's just say November, your altcoin bag will be up. That doesn't mean it's going to be a straight line, though. There's going to be a lot of volatility. And when I see a lot of hype and excitement and I see the mainstream media going bullish, those are sometimes signs that a pullback might be on the way. So again, I'm not telling you altcoin season starts this second. I'm not telling you it won't be ups and downs between now and the fall. What I'm telling you is ride the volatility, hodl on, DCA all the dips you can get your hands on, because we're in the last couple of days to buy cheap altcoins, to buy cheap Bitcoin before it all starts to go to the moon. With that said, let's transition into a little bit of some bearishness here with Bitcoin. I want to start off by going to my tweet, which, by the way, we should plug this more often. If you are not following me on X, at Tims_TA, if you're following a fake Tim, don't follow that one. At Tims_TA, make sure you're following on X. I'm posting several times a day. Make sure you're also following the Investing Bros channel. I retweet them all the time, although today it's been a little few and far between. Where's the last one right here? Oh, wow. Oh, no. I need to tweet them more often. I always tweet the other ones. Anyway, make sure you're following the Investing Bros one as well. I want to bring up a chart that I posted this morning and let you know what's going on. So this is what Bitcoin looked like when I posted this chart. Bitcoin price is at 109,430. We have this nice descending level of resistance on the red line, a nice rising level of green. We're bullish coming into formation. A bullish breakout would signal a new all-time high at 112,500. A breakout to the downside would signal a move back down below 107,000. I asked you guys to predict which one would happen, and I told you I would give my prediction in the comments. Well, you guys can see when I scroll over here, and we're going to take a look, clearly it went to the downside. But let's make sure we're kind of addressing this correctly, handling it. What we want to see here, let's go back, and let's just kind of go back to what we were looking at when this tweet went out. Now, the case for the move side is because symmetrical triangle patterns oftentimes are continuation patterns, meaning if you're bullish going into them, more often than not, you go bullish out of them, right? So there is the case for 112,500. But sometimes, occasionally, they are top modes, and we reverse, go down to the downside, and that's where 107 or a little bit below 107 comes in. I predicted, and you guys can go over and watch, it hadn't broken out yet, on Paul Barron's show, when I recorded with him at 1 o'clock today, I told him why I thought the Bitcoin was going down to 107,000. And the reason why is because despite the fact that this formation alone would signal further bullish moves, the moves on Bitcoin were beginning to fall. I love using Luxago. It's the #1 indicator out there. If you go to the 12-hour chart, we have a massive bubble on the Luxago oscillator right here. We have a red reversal right there. We got this gray dot, and that bubble is just turning over. It's going away. What do bubbles do? Like holding a basketball underwater, when you release that sucker, it shoots to the upside. In the same breath here, when the money flow creates a bubble to the upside, you see a dramatic pullback. I don't think we're going to see Bitcoin drop all the way to 12-hour smart trail, which is sometimes how I would trade it. That's actually a signal way down here back towards 105,000. Not impossible, by the way. We absolutely could go to 105. That's just not where I'm predicting or shorting Bitcoin back down to. I am looking at entering a short right now. I was live when we had the bearish breakout with Paul Barron. Didn't get my short exactly how I wanted it. but I'm monitoring a 12-hour sell signal. I'm monitoring a 4-hour sell signal where you look at, again, the money flows bleeding, the red reversals here. We got gray dots popping in. This is the one that I honestly think, well, we got the formation breakout matching up with a 4-hour smart trail right here south of $107,000. This was my prediction earlier today, and right now it looks like the breakout is kind of confirming that move. What I would have wanted to enter with, I would have loved here, but again, I was live for it. This gray dot right here on the 1-hour chart, that was my signal. It flashed at 1 o'clock right on the dot. I wish I could have entered right then here at about 109,190. I'm hoping we'd have bounced back up here to about, I think, what about 109,000 on the dot to catch this little rift down here. But long story short, this pullback is exactly what I predicted earlier, and the big breakout is happening. Why? Because bull runs come with bull pullbacks. I told you last week, if you guys are watching the show, don't be surprised to see Bitcoin hit 110,000. Why? Well, because we had this very bullish pattern right here where we had a breakout of a falling channel, and I told you the target would be right here, 109.5. I think I said 110 because it was over here. Either way, we told you last week, bullish breakout, look for 110. Now we got this bearish breakout of a symmetrical triangle. Don't be surprised to see 107 be in the works. After that, the question is, do we get a bounce? Do we start to see the buy signals come back in? Or do we see a fall all the way back to that 12-hour smart trail? That here coming in about 105,000. That's going to be the question. Good news. Good news for all the Bitcoin holders out there. The daily chart is still very bullish. The weekly chart is still very bullish. I say that. We're working on a potential gray dot there on the 1 hour, on the weekly chart, but we'll hold off and wait how that one progresses. I still believe the biggest and most important thing to be paying attention to right now is this indicator right here called the global M2 money supply. Let me fix the settings because it defaults to 12, and I want to put it on the 10. There we go. This is the money supply coming out in all around the world. Fiat currency everywhere. This is how it has been acting. And you can see the blue line is the money supply 90 days ahead of Bitcoin. The price action, of course, is Bitcoin. When you zoom out, it is eerie how similar Bitcoin and M2 money supply move together. Zooming back in, guess what M2 money kind of suggested for us? It suggested a pullback here between May 24th back here to June 6th. Called that bottom perfectly. Guess what it did after that? It talked about a move back to the upside and another pullback coming shortly after. Is that what we are currently going through? Possibly. The good news is whether we pull back only to 107, whether we pull back to 105, heck, what if we touch this former resistance level and hit support around 102, 103? I could just about guarantee you there's liquidations down in that camp down there. Either way, if you trust the M2 money supply, if you trust the news that we see coming out, if you understand it's not altcoin season yet, it's still time for Bitcoin to rally, just Ethereum outpacing it, you're looking at this all the way into late August saying, man, Bitcoin's got a lot of bullishness left in it over the rest of the summer. This is a very bullish chart. So short-term bearish, short-term pullbacks, that's probably what we're expecting over the next day or two, but don't be surprised to see a bounce and the reemergence of another long. What I'll be looking for is probably that 4-hour chart to start giving me some buy signals. That's where I'll be going in and adding to my existing long swing setups on Bitcoin. That's going to wrap up my Bitcoin technical analysis for right now. We do have an altcoin story. I don't even know if we'll have time for the technicals, but we do have some altcoins that are very important. I'm going to throw it to T Shroom. XRP and ONDO, coins that we love a lot. What's going on with them today? I heard they had a big headline.
Absolutely. ONDO Finance tweets this out earlier this morning. We're bringing tokenized real-world assets to the XRP Ledger. ONDO Finance's flagship short-term U.S. Treasury fund, OUSG, is now live on XRPL with seamless minting and redemptions via Ripple's stablecoin. It goes on to give more details about the TVL and different things like that. But essentially, this is a big boom for XRPL, that ledger, and the Ripple Labs team. This is a big partnership because what is something you do not associate with XRP or Ripple? Tokenization, and yet it's one of the biggest narratives in the 2025 bull market for crypto. So XRP, ONDO, shaking hands here. It's a big, juicy partnership. Two coins that we cover quite a bit here on the Investing Bros. Tim, are you loving this or are you liking this? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm loving this. Ondo, again, is one of my top picks for the rest of the bull market. I really think that people are making a lot of money in Ondo. It is a massive real-world asset play that's being adopted by all of the largest names. Then you hear about these partnerships with like XRP and other layer ones. It's very hard to be negative on Ondo, excuse me. Then you get into XRP. I mean, you can hate it. You can say, oh, it's not decentralized. At the end of the day, they're going to make it in this institutional bull market. Institutions could give two farts about your centralization versus decentralization arguments. The question is the technology usable? Will it have a space in the future? And the answer unequivocally when it comes to XRP is yes. Complain about Ripple, complain about the stable coins, complain about the centralization, complain about this, that, and the other. At the end of the day, XRP's chart, I will take a look at that one. We'll save Ondo for another day. Need to do an update on Ondo. The long-term chart on XRP is it is building up for another massive, massive breakout. I'll just show you one indicator here on the XRP charts. It's the weekly Bollinger Bands. Look at those constrictions as we're coming back in towards a resistance of a fall of a bull flag pattern. We are constricted on the Bollinger Bands to levels we have not seen since guess when? November of 2024. What happened there? Oh, just XRP shooting from 50 cents all the way to $3.30 in the matter of literally 3 or 4 months. Looks like we're shaping up for another big breakout once again. Oh, by the way, all the signs are bullish. Green reversal, bullish momentum, positive money flow, buy signals coming back in along with this explosive move. Don't be surprised this summer. My target's $4.30 to $5 is where I'm targeting. End of summer, $4.30 to $5. After that bull market top, I still think north of $11, $12. There's a world in which we go over 20, but I'm going to keep it down at $11 to $12 is my reasonable expectation for XRP. It's just consolidating. People say it's boring. Boring is consolidation. That's where the retail gets out. They get bored. The whale and scoop up all that hard work and consolidation. They make their money. That's what XRP's charts are doing right now.
Yeah.
Boom.
Huge.
All right. Man, we got through a lot of stuff there, and it's only 3:46. I think it's time to read some chat before we get a Smay crazy corner. How are you guys doing today overall? What we might do like one coin. If you guys want to take a look at ONDO TA, we can do some ONDO TA, but go ahead and drop some questions in chat. Make sure you're smashing that like button and hitting subscribe. Got 1,000 people in here watching this live stream. That is awesome. Love seeing those numbers back up. 269 likes though, T-Shroom. 269 likes, 26%, 27% like rate. We got to do better than that. We got to do better than that. Smay, quickly, I feel like this. Few people get upset about low like buttons like Smay does. Smay, how is this making you feel inside right now?
Hey, not great, Tim.
No.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Thank you for that great commentary there. Let's take a look at chat here. Can you gents do some Cronus TA, ONDO TA? A lot of ONDO people here. Smay, can you put a poll in real quick? Let's go. I saw people asking earlier for Chainlink. We'll do one of these. ONDO, Chainlink, Cardano, and Sui. Let's big communities right there. Our groups love those. We'll wait for a couple of minutes here and do one of those coins. So again, I'll say it again. ONDO, Chainlink, Cardano, and Sui. Let the people decide. Steady Bug in here. Love seeing you in here. He keeps me even leveled. He's here every day, but he disagrees. He said, I honestly think we're close to the top. Hope I am wrong. Steady Bug, let me know your rationale for a local top, right? Love to hear it, even though I don't always agree with everything I ever hear people say. I don't know about you guys. T-Shirt, I don't know about you, Smay, you. I don't like being in a room all the time with people that just agree with me about everything. I mean, sometimes it's nice. It's comforting. You can let your guard down. But I find it way more entertaining to be around people who disagree with my way of thinking, not just because I like debating, but I love hearing new ways of thinking, new thoughts, new ideas. Not all of crypto seems to like it. T-Shirt, are you like that? You like hearing different ideas?
I like to be the dumbest person in the room. That's how you gain the most intelligence.
And for me, that's quite often I get to be that person.
Yeah. So thank you, all the bears and all the questioners, all the contrarians. I'm seeing a theme in the chat of people asking, like Sui versus Cardano. Should I trade my Sui for XRP? I'm here to tell you and somebody might disagree with this, but I'm here to tell you, if you are in a top 20 crypto, right?
Yeah.
Swapping into another crypto doesn't make a ton of sense, with the exception of this is the point in the cycle where I sold a good bit of Bitcoin ETFs that I was in a swing trade on, a long-term swing trade, and I bought altcoins. So selling Bitcoin to go into altcoins, it's what we're seeing with the ETF flows, and it is kind of what makes sense to do. Bitcoin has had an uncharacteristically long run in this bull market, but that doesn't mean that the altcoin pump and euphoric phase isn't still coming. So that rotation play out of Bitcoin into alts, I would make the argument this bull run has proven to stay as high in the market caps and as close to Bitcoin in the risk curve as you can, meaning top 20, top 50 altcoins when you rotate out of Bitcoin. But going from SUI to XRP or XRP to ONDO, that's just going to drive you crazy, right? Just diversify. Make sure you're diversified. Don't be in something you don't believe in and understand. And if you don't have any Ethereum, you're wrong. If you don't have any SUI, any Solana, you're probably wrong, right? You can be forgiven for not believing in SUI. You can be forgiven for not, believing in some other ones, but Solana and Ethereum are pretty proven at this point. XRP and Cardano also right there behind it. Just don't be swapping around. But this isn't a bad time to go from Bitcoin back into some lower risk, some higher risk into the altcoins.
I got a downpour. I don't know if people can hear it on my mic. It is raining. I think potentially, literally, cats and dogs outside.
No, can't hear it at all. Sounds
okay.
Great.
Good. That's good. Good mic here. Lock up those noises. It's looking like ONDO is going to be the winner here. 37% of you saying ONDO, so we might do that here in a second. I want to kind of also talk about that question. Should I be swapping this, swapping that, swapping this, swapping that? You guys know that I've said in a couple of videos, I believe this bull market could continue into next summer. But at the same time, that doesn't mean I'm necessarily waiting till next summer to wait to take profits. I have some goals and things I want to do. There's a couple things you want to be aware of. If you're just saying, hey, Tim, which coin will make me more money investing in right now till later this fall or next year, XRP or SUI? This is not a dunk on XRP. It's actually a compliment to how far XRP is at the moment. SUI is a way lower market cap. It's going to be so much easier for SUI to make you more money than XRP. Does that mean you should swap your XRP over for SUI? Not necessarily. Number one, diversification is a very, very valuable asset when you're investing. If you were just going to go for the highest X return, you should own 0 Bitcoin and just go 100% altcoins. In fact, screw the top 20 altogether. I'm sure you could find a coin outside the top 100 that you believe in that's going to do something like a 40x. I don't know which one it is, so I can't help you with that. But if you want to just go into coins that will only have massive returns, why even hold Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin realistically is probably a 2 to 3x left in this bull market before we get the next correction. That's not the reason to think about it. Diversification and making sure you have safe investments is a good play. The second one is we are coming into a time period, and an argument can be made we've been in this time period for a couple months, but I think we're deeper into it. Remember capital gains. Sometimes we don't talk about capital gains as much as we should. I hope / think that before the end of 2028, before we move on to our next president, I still think there's a decent chance that crypto capital gains could be removed in the next 3.5 years. It's not there yet, though. There's short-term capital gains. There's long-term capital gains. And I don't know the exact number specifically, but I want to say it's something like 35% for long-term versus only 25% for short-term. Maybe those numbers are a little off. But overall, you will pay way more in taxes on your long-term, on your short-term capital gains than your long-term. So if I keep flip-flopping, I keep resetting the clock for that. And to get long-term capital gains, I have to hold the same asset for over a year, okay? So if I'm constantly flip-flopping to find the hottest thing, yeah, maybe I'll make a little more money, but I'm also going to pay more in capital gains. I would encourage you, the way your portfolio is right now, unless there's just a glaringly ugly detail to it. And I almost made a plug for something, but today has no sponsor. No sponsors today, okay? I promise you. We're not talking about our VIP trading group at all. I have to say it to say we're not going to talk about it, but we're not talking about it. If your portfolio is ugly, you might want to switch it around. But if your portfolio is okay, don't switch things around. with your DCA money, because we're not out of DCA time yet. That's where you look at your portfolio and say, should I buy XRP or SUI? I'll make more money in SUI. I'm going to DCA into SUI. Okay? That's the way you should be thinking about your portfolio moving forward. It's time to get out of flip-flop, flip-flop, flip-flop. Okay? There's my 2 cents right there. Let's do some ONDO TA. The people have spoken, which, by the way, saw someone in chat say, guys, it's pronounced SUI, not SUI. I understand this. The founders of SUI, they say it's pronounced SUI. We had a poll. Maybe it's time to rerun a poll. We had a poll in our community 4 to 5 months ago asking, how do you guys want to pronounce this? Our community voted overwhelmingly. We want to pronounce it SUI. So we're people's people, right? We don't just do our own thing. We want to help you guys. We live by what you guys want. You guys told us you want us to pronounce it SUI. Let us know if you change it. Comment in chat. Comment in the thing. We'll run a poll maybe next week. Maybe Smay, run a poll right now. We're going to do ONDO TA, but how do people want us to pronounce SUI? SUI or SUI? Spell it phonetically, and we'll see if people want to update it. Let's get into some ONDO technical analysis. I love doing this anyway. Again, it's been a minute since we did a lot of ONDO TA, so in a group that I'm not going to name that you could find in the description, we talked about this last week, about a breakout coming. We were in a falling wedge pattern here. Falling level of resistance, falling level of support. But then we got this nice bullish divergence where we put in a lower low on price action, but a higher low on oscillator. You see right there, that blue dot. This was a good sign of a bottoming out. I told you though, hey, wait for the breakout and watch for ONDO to make a major move to the upside. Now there's going to be some volatility in here, but we made a prediction that has not fully come true yet. We predicted that SUI, this wave, wants to come back up to 98 cents, almost to $1. We did top out today around 91.9. We're getting a small pullback, but that doesn't cancel this out. I still think we're making moves to the upside there. This is one when you look at the macro, again, people have been disappointed here a little bit, but there's still just massive reasons to look for big levels. I still think by end of summer, don't be surprised at the very least to see back up above $1.70 or so. I think somewhere between $2 to maybe $3 for ONDO end of summer at least. Again, then fall, I think you're talking about back up at least to $9. I think you go higher than that. End of bull market, I still think $22 on ONDO is doable. But it has been a little down. It doesn't have the same bounce necessarily that you saw on SUI. Or SUI, you guys tell us how you want us to pronounce it. SUI is still leading, it looks like. So that seems like I'm sticking there. Very explosive move there. Ethereum's looking very good here as well. Ethereum's stealing some thunder here more recently. ONDO's chart, if you were just a chart person and not a fundamental person, I understand pessimism. But again, the news that T-Shroom talked about earlier, the long-term understanding that institutions are going to be drawn to real-world asset plays like flies to honey. And ONDO is one of the most explosive, best real-world asset plays left out there. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we don't make it to $20. But I'll tell you right now, $9 is my disappointing bull market. I can't remember the market cap, but the market cap's less than $100 billion market cap to get to $9. If you don't think that ONDO is going at least to $100 billion in this bull market, then you don't believe in altcoin season. You don't believe in cryptocurrency. You don't believe in real world assets. Like, that's the reality. You can't say I'm bullish on ONDO. I think ONDO's special, but we're not going to at least $9, right? And again, realistically, I think $20 is the better play. But in a nutshell right now, again, what we're watching for, we got this big move on ONDO. I still think we're heading closer towards $1 before anything major gets reversed. But right now, keep an eye on tracking. Let's see how that 12 hours looking. I can't imagine the 12 hours overextended. You have a great dot, but that bubble doesn't pop just yet. I would say the largest I would expect, similar to Bitcoin. Could ONDO make a pullback back down here to 85 cents? Maybe. We're not that far from it right now. That would still be a higher low. You do see right here some mild confusion. Red reversal, bearish momentum. The money flow is trying to decide if it wants to go down, but we're printing another green dot right now. So I wouldn't be shorting ONDO right now, but if we can get that pop, gosh, I mean, there's the 1 hour. There's the problem right there. We're going to bounce off that 1 hour smart trail. I would just be adding to my bag right now. I don't even know if I'd be trading ONDO with any type of leverage right now. I think this is a great DCA spot for ONDO long term. If you can get a pullback back down here to the 4 hour smart trail in the middle of 85 cents, awesome. But again, I'm kind of right now on Ondo, more focused on those macro situations, the macro news and the macro fundamentals. And I got my eyes up here to look to start taking profit in the world of $2 on my swing trades I have set up. When it comes to my long-term portfolio, I won't even think about profits until $9, or I'll think about them if for some reason the bull market looks like it's ending, which, by the way, I think either this weekend or next weekend. Let me know if you guys want to see this. I think people, even though we're about to get in a bull market, people have been asking, what's your exit strategy? What's your exit strategy? Do you want to see me put my exit strategy, what I'm looking for on the charts, what I'm looking for in the news, what I'm looking for in the fundamentals to say, hey, this bull market's in trouble? If you want to see that video in the next week or two, let me know in the comments, in the chat. But that's my Ondo TA for right now. Hopefully that helped you guys out. It very much, T-Shroom, looks like Sui is going to be the ongoing pronunciation of this Litecoin. 71% saying Sui, only 29% saying Sui. So I don't know if that says something bad about our community. I'm not going to say it does. Our community is great. I love them. So if they love Sui, I love Sui, even though I know the correct pronunciation is probably Sui.
Yeah, I don't care as long as it makes me money.
Yeah. All right. It's 4:00. Normally we end here. But you know what? It's Wednesday. It's Wacky Wednesday. We've had a great day. Smash that like button. I don't even know if he's ready for this, but we can't leave without at least 20 seconds of Smay Chaos. If you guys want to leave now, if you don't like chaos, if you don't like craziness, you can get out now, or you can stick around and maybe laugh for a second or two. Smay, what's your chaos for us today?
You know, Tim, this idea that I have to always bring chaos, I have no chaos. Chaos today, Tim. This is just pure flowing peace that I'm about to bring right now. Just
change of pace.
Pure flowing peace. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, Tim. Everyone, real quick, let's just breathe in through our nose, out through our mouth. Very good, very good. So one of the things that I do that brings me peace every day is, not every day, sorry, I wish I did this every day, at least once a week, is golf. Now, there's a big thing coming up this weekend, and I want to see if you guys can guess what that is.
PGA Tour Finals.
No, I don't think
What are you even saying?
Masters?
No,
the Masters
Gosh, come on, people. Hey, it's the U.S. Open.
The U.S. Open.
The U.S. Open
was
is
the
this
next
week.
one I was guessing.
It's a big major in the golf world for you guys who don't know. So what I would like to do is clearly this bit is going to go really well considering how we just started. I was going to ask who you guys predicted to win. I don't know if there's going to be any satisfactory answer, but I'm going to go ahead and throw it out there. Who do you guys think is going to win the U.S. Open? As we relax and unwind and watch it this week.
What's his name? I mean, I like him. I blank on his name from time to time. I don't watch a lot of it. The guy that got arrested before the tournament last year.
That would be
What's his name?
No, that would be a really good
I don't
guess.
I don't like DeChambeau.
That is Scotty Scheffler. So that would
Scotty.
He is on a hot streak right now. So that was
he's the best golfer in the world. So I'm going to go with it's like asking me which altcoin will be number one next year. I'm going to stick with Bitcoin.
Right. So it can really go either way. He didn't win the Masters this year, obviously. That was Rory McIlroy. Right. But he did just win the PGA Championship, another one of the majors. There are 4 majors, in case you didn't know that. Yeah, and so the U.S. Open, this one's set to be really hard. It's at Oakmont, and it's a very difficult course. They're making sure it's extra hard. The roughs are like you can't find your ball. They're so thick. So, and I was watching some videos earlier today that even the pros were having issues chipping out of it. So it's going to be an interesting tournament.
Look at this. This is funny because we cover media. We're obsessed with media and news. I'm so glad we're not in golf news. Look at this terrible headline. This is from the NewYorkPost.com. Tiger Woods warning to U.S. Open golfers as horrible Oakmont consequences loom. Oh, you can't see it.
No. What are we reading?
What does that mean?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm on the wrong. I was on the wrong set of tabs there.
What that meant?
There it is. There it is. That's the one. That's the one I was looking. I was sharing the wrong. Yeah, the whole bit's ruined. Forget it.
Okay.
The chaos.
Oh, shroom. What even was that? All right, so what's your pick?
I'm gonna go.
We said
DeChambeau.
Shefty. Yeah,
DeChambeau?
I said Shefty.
I'm now, man, we don't really agree on many things, ladies and gentlemen, but I agree with Tim that
Yeah.
I think this is Scotty Scheffler's year. And like I said, guys, see, golf is such a peaceful sport, especially watching it on television. Very peaceful, sometimes a little boring, but man, do I love it. And that's why I wanted to bring you something that was a change of pace, no chaos today. Just
There we go. There's a little chaos in there. I don't know if you created it, but yeah, we might.
No,
have
that
created it.
That was an OT shroom. What the heck was that green crap? That's gonna be them hitting out of the green.
All
They're gonna be
right.
hitting out of that rough into the.
That's funny.
What the heck
That's
is that
funny.
green crap?
All right, guys, that's gonna wrap up today's live show. Thank
And
you
then
so
Gordon
much
Ramsay
for
will
being
say,
here.
I can't believe that this is the toughest greens I've
Oh
ever
my
had
God.
in the entire world. This is kitchen nightmares. All right, go ahead.
Thank you for that,
Close the
Smay.
show.
We will see you guys tomorrow noon. We'll be dropping another Thursday video. The rest of you will see you next week on the next Wednesday live stream. Have a great week. See you then. Adios.